When I say the words board games, what is the absolute first image that flashes into your brain?
Oh, if I'm being totally honest, it's probably a battered box of Monopoly that's been in the closet since 1995,
And an argument, right?
and a slow-burning argument with my siblings about who stole money from the bank.
Yeah, exactly. That is the cultural baggage we all carry, right? We think of board games as just a distraction, a way to kill time when the Wi-Fi goes down.
Right, it's entertainment, but usually the kind that ends with someone flipping the table.
It's the classic image. But today, we are going to completely, well, dismantle that view.
We're looking at a stack of research and interviews that suggest board gaming, specifically modern board gaming, is actually a sophisticated, a high-performance tool for cognitive development.
We're talking about a total rebrand here. Imagine a classroom where the textbooks are complex strategy engines and the final exam is a high-stakes tournament
Against adults.
against adults. That is the reality we're diving into today.
It really is a fascinating shift. Our deep dive today focuses on a man named David Tan. He is the founder of the International Board Game Academy, or IBGA.
And his mission is, well, it's pretty ambitious.
It is. He wants to take board games out of the living room and put them into the national spotlight in Singapore.
And he's not just doing this because he likes rolling dice.
No, not at all. He views these games as a vehicle to build critical thinking, social skills, and, emotional wellness in the next generation.
And we are basing this whole discussion on a really insightful interview with David from 352 inspiring stories of success and innovation. It covers his whole journey.
His whole arc, yeah, from the corporate grind to coaching kids.
And that arc is where I want to start because the origin story here is just so relatable. Before David was a board game evangelist, he was. Well, he was just a corporate guy.
He was. If you rewind to 2010, David is working at SAP, the massive global software company. Very corporate, very serious.
Or kind of place where fun is usually scheduled in a calendar invite, right?
Precisely. But during a management orientation, a colleague brings out this icebreaker game called Werewolves.
Okay, pause there. I've heard of werewolves, but for anyone listening who hasn't played it, this isn't like Go Fish, right?
Oh, not at all. Werewolves is a social deduction game. Basically, you have a big group of people, some are secretly werewolves, trying to eliminate the villagers.
And the villagers are trying to figure out who the werewolves are before it's too late.
Exactly. It takes persuasion, deception, reading body language, all of it. Intense debate.
And this was the spark for David. He talks about this specific moment where he realized, wait a minute, this isn't like the old school roll and move games I grew up with.
Right. He realized that, unlike the games of his childhood, where you just do what the dice tell you, this game required agency. It required him to interact, to manipulate. He was hooked.
The intense player interaction, he calls it.
Yeah, and I love that he spotted the difference immediately. He calls it parallel play versus interactive play.
That distinction is so crucial.
It is. Think about that Monopoly game you mentioned. You roll the dice, you buy a property. Then I roll. My turn doesn't really affect yours until I land on your space. We are playing alongside each other.
But not with each other.
Not constantly. That's parallel play. We're in our own little silos.
Right. And we just hope we don't crash.
Exactly. But in modern board games, the kind David started collecting after that, you cannot win in a silo. You might need to trade resources with me. You might need to bluff me. The game mechanics force social collision.
So David gets hooked on this collision. He goes down the rabbit hole. He asks his colleague where to get these games, finds a specialty store,
And fast forward a bit, the guy has a collection of over 100 unique game sets.
that is a serious collection. That's not just a hobby. That's a library.
It is. But what turns this from a personal obsession into a mission is the family connection. At the time, his daughter, Sherilyn, was about 11 years old.
And he started sharing this hobby with her. It became their thing.
It did. And if we look at the timeline, fast forward a decade from that moment, Sherilyn is no longer 11. She's studying psychology at the National University of Singapore.
And she's the one who suggests, hey, you have these training skills. Why not introduce more kids to this world?
And David, being the dad that he is, says, why don't we do it together?
That's the pivotal moment.
It becomes a partnership. You have David with the corporate training and coaching experience, and you have Sherilyn bringing the academic expertise in child psychology. I mean, it's a really powerful combination.
It really is. It bridges that gap between this is fun and this is actually good for your brain. And that leads us to the philosophy behind the IBGA, which I found really surprising.
Yes, this is one of the most critical parts of the source material.
Mhm.
David challenges a very, very common assumption that parents have, that children automatically know how to play well together.
Oh, I feel that. You put two kids in a room with a pile of toys, you just assume they're bonding,
Right.
that they're working it out.
Exactly. But David points out that the evidence suggests otherwise. Often parents think kids are interacting, but they're actually just playing side by side.
Back in those silos we talked about.
Right back in the silos. And if you leave them alone to just share toys without any structure, what usually happens?
Chaos, conflict, tears.
Precisely. Because sharing without structure is hard. It's an abstract concept. David's whole philosophy is that modern board games force structured interaction.
So it's about the rules providing like a safety net for social interaction.
That is a great way to put it. The rules function like the physics of that social world. In a game, fairness isn't this vague moral concept. It's a rule printed in the book. You cannot take that resource because it's not your turn.
That's interesting. It takes the personal conflict out of it. It's not, I'm not letting you have this.
It's the game doesn't let you have this.
Right.
And that builds patience, boundary recognition. You have to wait. You have to watch.
And then there's the emotional side of it. This part really resonated with me. The source talks about handling jealousy. Because, let's be honest, losing hurts.
It is a very real emotion for a child. Someone makes a clever move, they outsmart you, and you feel that pang of frustration.
In a casual setting, that might lead to a tantrum.
Or flipping the board.
Yeah.
But in the structured environment of the IBGA, the coaches use that as a teaching moment. They reframe it.
Right.
Instead of, I hate that you won, the goal is to get the child to say, wow, that was a smart move. How did you do that?
That is a massive leap in maturity, transforming envy into curiosity.
It is. It's about learning to lose graciously and communicate with courtesy. Turning a loss into a data point for your own learning, not a hit to your ego. That is a skill a lot of adults still struggle with.
Tell me about it. So how do they actually teach this? It's not just, here's a game, go play.
No, the IBGA has a specific method, a three-stage framework. Explore, engage, and excel.
Okay, let's break those down. First is explore.
Explore is the entry point. The focus here is purely on enjoyment. They strip away the intense competition. The goal is just to foster a positive first experience.
Makes sense. Hook 'em with the fun first.
If the kid doesn't have fun, they won't come back. Then comes engage.
Right.
Engage is where it becomes a habit. These are weekly 90-minute sessions. Here, the focus shifts to deepening interest, building friendships, and really working on those social communication skills.
And finally, for the serious gamers, there's excel.
The excel stage. This is for the kids who want to go pro, essentially. Specialized coaching for tournaments, community, national, even global. And interestingly, David notes that this stage requires way more parental involvement.
Like a competitive sport.
Exactly like soccer or gymnastics. You need the
Yeah.
parents on board to support that.
So it goes from having fun to building skills to high performance competition. Now, theories are great, but I love a good success story. The source highlights a specific student, Alvin Them.
It is a remarkable case study. Alvin joined the program in September 2023. He started in Explore, but moved to Engage very, very quickly.
And we aren't talking about years of training here. The source says within just 6 months, his parents noticed profound changes.
And not just that he was better at winning games. This is the so what for the listener. The changes were in his life. His parents reported improved time management and sustained concentration.
Time management from board games. How does that work?
Well, think about it. In a complex strategy game, you have limited resources and limited turns, basically limited time to achieve a goal. You have to budget your actions.
So he started applying that same resource management thinking to his schoolwork.
That's the holy grail for parents, isn't it? Please let this hobby help his grades.
It really is.
And beyond the academics, there was a personality shift. He became more positive, more outgoing, and his confidence among peers just soared. It's proof that play-based learning isn't just a buzzword.
And Alvin isn't just staying in the classroom. He, along with his teammates, they're stepping onto a massive stage.
Yes, the World Series of Board Gaming, the WSBG Asia Satellite Tournament.
Which is a huge deal. It's the quest to crown the Asia Modern Board Gaming Champion.
It is huge. But here's the kicker. These are kids, young prodigies, the source calls them, and they are facing off against adults, seasoned adult players.
It's a classic David versus Goliath scenario. You have these, 12, 13-year-olds sitting across the table from engineers and accountants?
Conventionally, you'd bet on the adult. They have life experience, they have patience, Probably better poker face.
You would think so. But David, the coach, has this incredible take on why the kids might actually have the upper hand.
She calls it a hidden advantage. And when I read this, I literally stopped and said, whoa,
Break this down for us. What is the hidden advantage?
it's academic stress.
Come again!
I know, it sounds completely counterintuitive, but David points out that these children have specific recent training ground that most adults haven't visited in years: academic exams.
Yes, that is such a cool way to look at it.
I mean, think about the life of a modern student, especially in a high-pressure system like Singapore's. They're constantly in situations where they have to perform, where the clock is ticking. They live in that adrenaline zone.
So while the adult might be freaking out because they haven't felt that kind of competitive pressure in a decade,
The kid is sitting there thinking, this is just like a Tuesday math test.
I do this every week.
Exactly. They are equipped to handle the nerves. The adults have lost that exam muscle. The kids are bathed in it.
That is such a brilliant reframing. David is taking something we usually see as a negative, the high-pressure school system, and weaponizing it.
He teaches them a mantra. Nerves are just a sign that you care.
I love that. It takes the fear out of the physical sensation.
It does. It normalizes the stress response. It means your body is ready to fight. It turns anxiety into readiness.
So we have the method, the results, the psychology. But David isn't just a coach. He's an entrepreneur. He built IBGA from the ground up.
And he has a very pragmatic view on it. He believes having a good idea isn't enough. The Field of Dreams approach doesn't work here. You can't just build it and expect them to come.
Right, you have to keep the lights on.
You do. He talks about commercial viability, understanding how to pitch to sponsors, understanding your sales channels. For him, that means working with student care centers and educational institutions.
He's treating it like a serious business ecosystem, not just a passion project.
And he is looking to scale this up even further. The source mentions he plans to engage the Ministry of Culture, Community, and Youth.
That is a strategic move, getting government support and grants.
It is. He wants to align IBGA with national objectives for youth engagement. He sees board gaming as a community-building tool.
It gives it legitimacy. It stops being toy time and starts being youth development.
Exactly. And it connects back to that Rainmaker movement mentioned in the source, too, with the values of RRQE.
Love, authenticity, respect, kindness, and youthfulness.
He is trying to embed these values into the fabric of the organization. It suggests he wants to create a culture, not just a company.
It feels like he's trying to rebrand what it means to be a gamer, moving it from isolated introvert to strategic, empathetic leader.
I think that's a fair assessment.
So what does this all mean? We started by saying this isn't just about rolling dice.
And I think we've proven that.
It feels like board games, in David's hands, are a Trojan horse.
That is the perfect analogy.
You roll it into the room and the kids think, yay, games! Fun, but inside the horse is critical thinking, resilience, social graces, and focus.
And the beauty is, the kids don't even realize they are learning those things until they start applying them in real life, like Alvin did with his schoolwork. The effort feels like fun.
And I really appreciate the father-daughter dynamic here. The fact that this whole mission started because a dad wanted to share something he loved with his daughter.
And she grew up to help him professionalize it. It's just a great story. It bridges the generations. It shows that play is a universal language that can evolve as we grow.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what is the one big thing you want our listener to walk away with?
You know, I keep coming back to that hidden advantage concept. The idea that the stress of exams, something we usually view as negative, can actually be repurposed as a competitive asset in a completely different arena.
It flips the script on stress.
It really does. And it raises an important question for all of us. If the pressure of academic exams can be training for a board game tournament, what other stressful modern experiences are we going through right now?
That might actually be training grounds for unexpected skills.
Exactly.
That is a thought to chew on. Maybe that high-stakes meeting or even dealing with a screaming toddler is preparing you for something you haven't even discovered yet.
One can only hope.
David Tan and the IBGA certainly seem to think so. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
A pleasure as always.
And to you listening, maybe it's time to dust off that board game shelf. Or, better yet, find a new one that challenges you to think a little differently. Who knows what skills you might unlock? We'll catch you on the next one.